Hello, friends. Good morning, all my friends in USA, and good night from Bangladesh. Myself, Habib Rahman, welcome you all to this Community Talks YouTube channel. On today's talk series for conscious parenting facilitates inner peace and common children, with a very special guest from United States of America, Bobby Jimenez. I'm very happy to invite you in that show today. Barbie, how are you?
Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm happy to be here. I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Though this is very tough to say easily, I'm okay, I'm well, but we are actually bound to speak like this. We are used to in that situation, right? So, Barbie, I know you are very, very busy and scheduled this time, though you are performing all works from home online, but it's very tough schedule that you shared me earlier. So today I should share you, though we have already started. This is basically Community Talks. This is my YouTube channel, and in Facebook, Community Talks BD. I mean Community Talks Bangladesh. This name. I have a Facebook page, and over the last few months, when first hit COVID-19, 8 March in Bangladesh and around the world, so for that time, I thought, I'm a social worker, I'm an academician. Of course, my identity as a social worker practitioner, I thought, what should I do? And I decided to host a session like this. And last few months, I have been hosting. So for this is 42nd or 43rd episode, but in talk series, this is fourth. I'm very honored to have you here. And already many friends from home and abroad noticed this and just knocked me in messenger, even in email, someone that today's topic is very vibrant and time-fit topic of discussion, conscious parenting. And of course, conscious parenting in relation to the children, which is this time is really very tough. COVID makes harder, right? So as we are on, so may I request you, invite you to speak on actually what is conscious parenting you just share. And before that, my question to you, why you are emphasizing on this area? I know you are a very good educator, you are a trainer, you are a public speaker, right? And you are a motivator, counselor in USA, especially you are conducting parenting coaching over the children education coaching. So many things that you are mentoring so many people, especially the young children and also their parents to make a good tie, right? So how can you share your experiences in your personal life dealing with the children as a conscious parent, and how you define conscious parenting?
Yeah, so I came to this work as an educator. I used to teach early childhood, and when I had my children, I started to raise my children the same way I had learned to teach, which was behavior modification and rewards and punishment, essentially. And my kids were just not having it. It was not a good time. It was, parenting was full of conflict and extremely difficult, which, not to say conscious parenting isn't challenging in itself, but it just, there was no connection. Our connection was being hindered by conflict every day. And so I decided, when my 8-year-old son said to me, "You really need to stop controlling me. I don't like this." I decided to find a better way. It was my time as the adult to choose a better way. This was no longer working. And so that's how I came across Dr. Shefali Tsabari's work on conscious parenting. And it really transformed the way I looked at parenting and raising children and living with my children in connection and cooperation, as opposed to trying to constantly be controlling them, being the one in charge of their lives. And that's really what traditional parenting has taught us to try and do. And so conscious parenting kind of flips the camera and the lens onto ourselves as parents. So what can we do to be in relationship with our children? Because at the end of the day, it's all about being in relationship. So a lot of times we treat our children in ways that we would never even think of treating other human beings, right? Our friends, our family, we wouldn't put them in timeout when they're having a hard time, or criticize them, or tell them to grow up and stop having the feelings that they're having, right? We would never do that to our spouses, to our friends, to our family. But we've been conditioned to believe it's okay to do that to our children just because, they're little. And so conscious parenting really changes that idea, and that it's about parenting ourselves first, and noticing when we are feeling triggered and when we are feeling upset or strong feelings, what can we do to heal and calm ourselves, so that then we could really address the child in front of us and not get stuck in the child within ourselves. And so that's really what conscious parenting is all about. It's having one eye looking in and one eye looking out, so that we can calm ourselves down and then bring that calmness into our relationship. Because our children, especially young children, they feed off of our skills to be able to do that, our social emotional intelligence to be able to calm themselves down. They need us to be there for them, holding space. So I kind of learned this firsthand in my own parenting when it wasn't working. And luckily I was able to hear my children's call for a different way. And that's how I became a conscious parent coach and conscious parent.
Right.
So I would say that conscious parenting is different from traditional parenting in the way that traditional parenting has really conditioned us to make the child conform to what makes us comfortable, right? It's all about having rules for the children's behavior so that we don't feel out of control, so that we can get our things done, and so that we can accomplish what we need to do with a child by our side who's going to be easy to work with.
Exactly.
And
But
so,
Barbie, there's one thing I should interfere here, that traditional parenting and of course this modern, conscious parenting, if I compare my parenting and my parents' parenting, right? When my father, my mother, my mom was there. Just think about 25 years or 30 years back, just like when I was a 6 or 7 years child. That time, if I could recall my memory, and this time how I'm just giving coaching to my kid, it's different in many ways. Actually, of course, I should say that time more facilities were not there really for my parents to take care of me, to give me, to support me. And there was no option, in terms of IT facilities, fooding, right? Different items were there. So many recipes are here this time. Schooling system is different. I was just bottom in a village, my country, but my children, my friends, children, they are just being born and brought up in capital. So there is a huge difference. But sometime I just listen my friends. Of course, I feel sometimes that my parents' parenting was better sometime, I think, because there were some specific rules and regulations, right? I should say, when just sun sets, we are bound to sit on at the table just to start study, right? And we just wake up early in the morning. But this time, the children's habits are changed completely. It's reversed. Study at night, I mean 10 or 9 p.m. when already they are three hours behind us, right? In the morning, they wake up at 10 a.m. A very specific case, it might be special, very few children, they just wake up at early, I mean 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. after 5:30 early in the morning. It's very rare case this time, and most of the time for these modern facilities, many children spending huge time, there are so many studies already happened that mobile phones, I mean cellular attractions, tab, computer, right, televisions. During my time, but we could hardly see watch television. There was no phone even, no, I mean mobile phones were there, no tabs, no laptop. So we didn't spend much time on that purpose. We just we had a peer group, the village children who spend just time with physical attraction, physical reciprocity, sharing, right? And there are so many plays and games were there at the time, but this all are disappeared this time because no way. And all the children are confined in a small home. Just think, Barbie, just that I personally experiencing. I love to share, and this is my question also. If I categorize family in my country, in my surrounding, just not just being a bookish, I'm just thinking if I categorize family like in a family, husband and wife both are in service. In some families, husband is in service or in business, wife is simply housewife, but she is doing so many works. In some other families, we could say even husband and wife not doing anything, because I'm just telling about all the families together. And if you can categorize children from newborn to 6 to 14 years or 15 years and above, right? Before their marriage. So how parents of three types, children of three types really, there are so many complex situations, especially COVID time this time. So your time is open, you can just share your feelings, how we can manage this, because sometimes we got nervous, puzzled even. But I'm a very good conscious in that sense, I should say, but I feel even sometimes that I cannot manage my child. It's very tough. As we both are in service, it's very tough sometimes, but of course it has some good side also for the children even. So how you can manage us like parents around the world? Barbie, your turn, please.
So I want to say, first of all, that yes, I hear what you're saying about how when we grew up, it was almost simpler. We played outside with friends. Our parents, whether it was because they didn't have as much information as we do nowadays, or because they were busy, we had more free time. And like you said, more time to be with our peers. And I think that had many, many advantages. And I think that right now, a lot of parents have almost too much information and are almost trying too hard to raise the perfect child. And I think that from those pressures that come from society and that we put on ourselves, whether culturally or from our parents, to raise that perfect child that is going to be good in academics and good at sports and have friends, and right. So it's a lot of pressure that we put on ourselves because of our conditioning from what is a good child and a healthy child from our belief systems. So I think that almost kind of going back to that and saying what is most important is the connection that you have with your child. And that doesn't mean spending 3, 4, 5, 6 hours with them. Connection can happen in 5 minutes, right? So there are a lot of parents that are working or that are or stressed because they're not working and they don't know how they're going to put food on the table and keep a roof over their heads right now. And they have a lot of other worries to concentrate on. And so the biggest thing I can say for parents going through that is create some time to just connect with your child. And it doesn't have to be a time of doing. As a matter of fact, I would say don't plan on doing anything together. Just being with your child and taking the child's lead in what they want to spend that time with you, whether it's reading a story, whether it's running around the house or going out into nature or playing a game. Just really creating a time that you can connect heart to heart with your child. And that connection alone helps the child to feel seen by you, to feel validated, to feel safe. And from that connection, then you can create more cooperation as a family and understand each other. Because at the end of the day, it's about like I said in the beginning, it's about the relationship. It's not about trying to mold a child into an adult, right? It's not about trying to mold a child into anything. It's trusting that they are a whole human being. They came into this world whole, and we are here to be in relationship with them. And obviously we have more life experiences because we've been on this planet longer, but those are usually things that have to do around safety. And we can keep them safe by guiding them. But when it comes to living their life, it's really about giving them space to live their life. And when I don't know over in Bangladesh if you use the term or hear the term helicopter parenting. Have you heard that? So helicopter parenting is like a parent that is trying to control everything in their child's life and wants to be involved in every single second and every single moment. And who are your friends and what are you, and planning their entire day full of activities. And so the child never has time to just.
There are few friends. Actually, there are few parents like this, right? Every single moment they're just. It's sometimes boring, right, for children.
Well, it's a lot of pressure for the children because they feel like they're going, doing this, doing that. And it's like they have to live up to all these expectations is how they feel. And the parents aren't doing it that way. They really are doing it with the best of intentions because they want the best for their children. But what the child is hearing and feeling is that they have all these expectations to live up to in order to earn their parents' love, and in order to earn their parents' connection. And so conscious parenting tells you, no, your children are deserving of love just because they're alive. And it's important that we communicate that to our children through our actions, through the way we interact with them. Because as long as they feel connected to themselves and they feel connected to a parent or a caregiver, that's really what's going to set them up for a successful life, because they're going to be connected to their social emotional intelligence, not trying to live up to everybody else's expectations.
Right, but there are a few more dimensions, like family turns into deviations, like nuclear joint family to nuclear family, right, due to globalization effect on that. And sometimes we could hear somebody that it's better. I mean, previous pattern was better when grandpa, grandma, cousin, uncle, aunt all live together, right? So when son and daughter just goes out for the job, their grandchild is not nurtured by their grandpa, grandma. But this time it's very tough, right? And there are huge problem. If I share about my country, the capital and other divisional cities, when both are in service or single hand service holder, it's very tough to actually manage their family, afford the family expenses properly. So it's tough for them sometimes to afford their children's education in a better school. So it's very tough. And in the same case, when husband and wife both are in service, when the children are taken care of by a housekeeper or maid servant, actually their socialization process divert to another way. So it's an alarming sometime. And there are so many occurrences. Sometimes we could see in the media that a housekeeper, I mean, in that sense, maid servant who actually takes care of their babies or children, a child, they are endangered by them. So it's an alarming issue in that case. So which one actually you prefer, like to be a good and a conscious parent? What should be the basic tools to follow by the parents to be becoming a conscious parent? Because it also needs some knowledge in that sense to properly taking care of their children, right?
Yeah.
So any suggestion?
I would say always the basis is learning to notice when you are feeling upset, right? When something's coming up inside of you. And instead of reacting, right? And this could be something that you teach your kid, the caregivers, right? Or whoever's taking care of the children, whoever the children is spending the most time with. It might not be a parent, like you said. It might be a housekeeper or a servant or whoever is watching the children while the parents are at work. But really learning to connect to themselves so that they can sense when they're getting upset and they don't take that out on the child, right? It's a matter of saying, okay, there's something going on inside of me right now, and breathing. So first is the awareness, because if we don't even know that there's something going on inside of us, like many of us don't even have enough connection to ourselves to notice, we just react. So first is the awareness, then comes the connecting to your breath so that you can calm yourself down and find space to create space between you and the reaction or the child, so that you can hold space for yourself while holding space for the other person, whether it's a child or an adult. It's, holding space for each other and calming yourself down. So breathing, sometimes it means as long as the child is safe, sometimes it means leaving the space for a few minutes. And you can say to the child, I'm feeling really upset right now. I'm going to walk over here. And then we can talk about what's going on. That's wonderful for your child, because when they're feeling upset, then they learn that they have the space and the skills, instead of reacting, to calm themselves down too.
Right.
And that could look different for different people. In your breath, right? To just reconnect to your body and calm your nervous system down so that you can stay in the moment. Because what happens is we go to our thoughts and we start to create all these stories, and we're either in the past or the future, and we leave the present moment. And so now we're not dealing with whatever's happening here anymore. We're dealing with the what ifs. What if this happens? What if that happens? And what if my child grows up to be homeless? What if my child grows up to be a criminal? Right? We put all this pressure on that moment when all the child did was express themselves in anger, let's say, but we can't handle that.
Yeah,
so
but
we freak out.
Barbie, just one thing, but problem is all the parents more or less alike around the world, because I think when a small kid or a teenager, right, start crying or shouting or any just for asking for anything, right, uh, there turns to be obdurate. Parents actually cannot stay anymore to console them, because always all the parents are alike, I think. And problem is that we could see mental health or child health issue, mental health issue is a big issue nowadays, right? Because, you know, uh, a teenager, I mean, 13, 15 years, their school is off, right? Teaching is off, education is so free is off. I am just talking about around the world in many countries. Education is uncertain. Teachers are teaching through Zoom, Facebook, Messenger, Google Meet, so many other options. So they're automatically actually adjust with the electronic device, and after that they have some headaches, some physical complexities, right? And of course
Mhm.
pain and extra attraction to see or watch any other videos. So parents are always in tension by dint of study how their children passing or just pass their day. And especially the parents, those who are in service or in business or busy out of home, they're especially in tension. So right, I could believe. But your fantastic talk, that I could understand that a parent has a huge responsibility, especially this time. A parent should be a very good and active and patient listener, right? And a parent just like a ventilator to ventilate all kinds of grievance, sorrows, and problems of the children, so that he or she can actually calm down automatically. That is our topic actually. That parents, a good parent, right? Conscious parent have so many things to come down their children. And in social work practice that you actually share, we also follow this, that listening with time, or listening before talking, is a great healer. It's a healing process automatically. We can heal other people, those who have some tense time or any problem or psycho problem, right? Any issues, any crisis, automatically healing or listening sometimes act as a crisis manager. So parents are the manager here this time.
Mhm.
So especially this time, as we all are in actually not mentally unsound, but we are passing tense time, parents and children. So it's very difficult to suggest in that case. But so what kind of extra care? I know you are a very renowned coach, parenting coach there. So what kind of extra suggestions for the parents, for the children, you were suggesting over last few months, and especially this time as COVID is very uncertain in front of us?
Yeah. So always the parents need to have space for themselves and to take care of themselves, right? If we don't take care of ourselves, there's nothing we can offer our children. Much easier to lose her, whether it's meditation or prayer or singing, or right, anything that feeds your soul, feeds your heart. It could be journaling, it could be reading, it could be, usually it's something creative, right, where you're creating, because we are creating creative beings. It could be spending time in nature, it could be spending time with friends, right? But making sure that we are taking time to fulfill our needs, because if we don't, we just bury and bury and bury all the incidences, and then we blow up, because we don't have that spaciousness within ourselves. And in order to create that inner calm and that inner peace, we have to take care of ourselves. We have to create space for our inner world. And by doing that, we can create more space for our children. Children, especially under the age, I would say, of 8 years old, they are feeding off of our energy. So if we are in fear, then whether we act like we are, we aren't, they're going to sense that and they're going to feel in fear. If we are finding calmness and inner peace, then they will. COVID is a very scary time for lots of people, but at the same time, life is always impermanent. We never know what's going to happen. All we can ever do is take care of ourselves as best we can. And so reminding ourselves of that can help us to find more peace and more calmness, so that then we can hold that space for our children, because this is a scary time for them if they are watching the media and adults around them really being in a space of fear and horror about not knowing and trying to control what's happening. And we can't control. So I tell parents, so think about, what can you control right now? Well, right now I can control if I take some time to breathe. I can control if I take some time to write. I can control what I am doing with my time right now to take care of myself, so I can lower my stress level and then bring that to my children. That you can control. Can you control that something bad doesn't happen to you when you walk out the door, or that the ceiling above us is going to collapse out of the blue and we're done? No, we can't. We can think we can control that, but we really can't always control it.
Barbie, just
everything.
I'd love to add something, like just two things. One is, for the parents, you will actually give some suggestions for them. Most of the cases we found, parents, they are busy with their children academic result only, just academic grades, score, right? Out of 4 CGPA or 5 CGPA, they always desire their child might be sick, their child might be unfit, might be unattentive, or might be okay, right? But their only attention is, at any cost, by hook or by crook, they must have to score the highest one, instead of all other things that you mentioned, that we face actually in my neighbors, right? In my family, my nephew, niece, and other families also, right? Parents are always busy and concentrating only their academic study, irrespective of their co-curricular activities, singing, dancing, relation with nature, outings, right? Excursion, watching some videos, conversation, reading extra books. Actually, in quality education, we are just studying this, that out of 100% teaching, at least up to 40% or 33 to 40% should be co-curricular activities, which will be added, like not full stomach of rice with some water and curries. It should be, right? Not 100% rice full of stomach. It might damage stomach and right capacity of the body, and it might be malnutrition even. But our parents don't love to understand that they only need results. So actually, you might point out something for the parents, that life is a long race. This is not a one-day test, a cricket match. It's a long test match. So the whole life, though this is uncertain, they have so many things to do, right? A relation, you'll be very happy this time, COVID time. Our Honorable Prime Minister emphasized one thing. Many other, of course, countries, premier also allowed, like that is, keep good relation with the relatives, neighbors, friends. It also kind of healing process, right? So you will speak something for those parents, those who are only seeking for the good result in class 1, grade 1, 2, 3, 4, which is meaningless in that sense, because if they have a minimum grade result, they can do better, I think. And second thing is, in many school, in primary level, pre-primary level schools, they have so many books. 3 books is enough. English, mathematics, and Bengali is enough. I mean, language is enough. But there is 13, 14, 15, 16 books. The small kid, small child cannot move with the bag, huge backpack, right? So these two, you will just point out how you suggest those parents, those who are very careful to have a good score from their children.
Yeah.
And over.
It's hard. And I see it here too. It happens here too. And what I try to teach parents is that comes from our fear. It comes from the fear that our children aren't going to be successful, whatever successful is, right? Because we've been conditioned to believe that success means get a good job, make money, get a house, get married, have children, you're successful. And a lot of people, especially, I mean, I don't know your age, but people my age who've already checked off the education, checked off the house, the marriage, the children, and then are like, wait a minute, I have all these checks completed, but I'm still not happy. What's going on? I was promised success and happiness once I checked all these things off. And so then we push it on our children. Wait. Okay, so it didn't work for me. Now I got to work even harder to get my children to do it in a way that they're going to end up feeling happy and successful. And so here we call it a rat race, where it's just, you just go around and around and around. And honestly, one of the reasons I left my job when I was no longer happy was because I wanted to model for my children. Luckily I had the privilege to do that, and I understand that completely. Okay. But I wanted to model for my children that here I am telling them, follow your passion, follow the things you love. That's living. And then they're watching me go to work and come home and be like, right? So I wasn't living. So I decided I'm going to choose to live a different way. And actually, that's when I went and became a certified conscious parent coach and decided to work with parents. And part of it was to model for my children the life I really want them to have, which is a life of creativity, a life of doing what makes you happy. And that could just be, we're so full of do. We never stop to just be, right? And I get it. Sometimes we have to just do the job we have because that's the only job we have and we need the money. And that's okay. I'm not saying go out and quit your job because you're not happy. What I'm saying is find times where you can feed your soul and realize that doing isn't the only way. And so when we push academics on our children, it's because we have the fear that they're not going to be successful, that they're not going to be happy. And it's like a vicious cycle where that's why conscious parenting turns the lens to the parent. Like create that inner safety and calm for yourself in your life. Find out what makes you happy. Find out what success really means for you, and then do it in your life. Because that's the greatest gift you can give your children, because they're watching everything. And we talk to our children with hours and hours of lectures. And we say beautiful things, but that's not what gets in. What gets in is what they're watching us do, the way they're watching us live our lives. That's what's most important. And it happens here too, where parents are so concerned on whether their child is getting an A in class. And it goes back to what I was saying in the beginning. Then children, what they're learning is that in order to get love and feel loved, they have to do certain things. like get good grades, like get a good job, right? Like, and so they live their lives trying to please everybody else. And they're not living their lives to see why are they here at this time? What can they bring to the earth, to the world, to, you know, at this time? What can they do to serve other people and to be in relation with other people? To me, that is the greatest goal that we have as human beings. How can we serve each other from our full humanness, right? Because we have to feel whole to be able to get there. And so that's what this journey is about. And I really feel like parenting our children are our greatest teachers, and they really push us, right, to wake up, to do our work, right? They're telling us, grow up and get your own life so that you can let me live mine, right? And we're here, and we're here to keep it safe.
Amazing. Actually, I will share something with you. There are so many comments. I'm taking few. They're just greeted us, right? Sabon Mishra say good space, ma'am. Assalamu alaikum. Actually, she gave you salam from Bangladesh. Alamin Hussain wrote, children in our country need something more mental support. Many times parents cannot meet their need because of actually busy schedule and their job and work. Alamin also wrote, how do you analyze the fact that the parents of boys and girls in our country are given a free freedom? Actually, we have discussed, Alamin, thank you. Tanha Binte Kalam wrote, nice to meet you, Barbie ma'am. Sir Imran wrote, Rabindra Ram, Nizum Chakma, Alamin Hussain, and so many other friends is actually texting. As I mentioned, this is YouTube, so this video, hopefully they will watch out this later on. And Barbie, you mentioned, actually, I'm very happy to have all the words because parents are the coach, parents are the mentor, parents are the model for the children. And today, I should share, my wife is in job service, so today is government holiday in my country. We both are at home. So as she's my best friend, we are just partnering so many things, sharing so many things today, right? And all the holidays, same, we share and care. And actually, she was talking to me, talking to my children, two kids, one son and daughter, that never think my life is only for both of you. You are our beloved children. Out of you, except you, we have our parents, we have our brother and sister, nephew and niece, all are your relatives and lovely and loved someone. So all together, and also neighbors and my stakeholders, my colleagues, my actually my staff and colleagues, my seniors. So this world is a composition of all together. So what I'm earning, what I'm taking from my office, from the government, or from my organizations, actually they're giving us, we are sharing not only with you, all together. That you summarize, I'm very happy to just hear this, because my life is not only for myself. I have so many responsibilities to just take care of my babies, to just share with our next doors, right, neighbors, our parents, our relatives, our brother and sisters, and of course some other people. But thing is, the last question to you, because we are very close to end, just after 6 minutes we'll stop. Last question is, occasionally and more often we could hear from someone that some parents, it might be also, we also sometimes might be, we become spatially carer to our children, that we don't love to see them to share their tiffin, right, their chocolates, their bag and sitting place with other friends. We think this patties, this sandwich, if my child take, he might be healthy and happy, but my child wants to share. If he or she can share, he might be more happier than this. So happiness and success just two words. Actually, we could, in a nutshell, we can take out from this journey: happiness and success. There are so many people around us. They're in surface meaning they're successful people. They have Prado, Pajero, right? Mercedes. They have multi-story building, duplex. They have park. They have so many things they have. Millionaire, billionaire. But problem is, sometimes we could hear from some of the people that they cannot sleep at night properly. And on the reverse, there are some people, very simple, that is a simpler is the term. Simplicity is the term. They are happy. So what is success and what is happiness? Success and happiness is really appeared at the same time. What do you think, Barbie? This is my last question to you, actually. How we can...
Yeah.
because
So
because you left job and now you are happy, you are freedom, and you have freedom taking part with your children, right?
right.
Okay.
And I think to me, success and happiness means freedom, like you just said, right? Freedom from our belief systems, freedom from our conditioning, freedom from the I have to do this or I should do that because they're expectations of me, whether they're from my belief systems, whether they're from conditioning, from culture, from society, right? When we're living our lives because we're trying to do all the I should do this, all the expectations, then that's not true, in my opinion, and not truly living. You are just trying to be happy and successful in a way that is not real. It's in a way that we've been conditioned to believe that that is what success is. Like I said earlier, with all checking off all the boxes, a lot of people who have checked off all the boxes, like you said, are not truly happy. They're going through their day and their habits. And like you said, at the end of the night, when they're laying in bed, they can't sleep. They don't have that inner peace and calm. So it's not stuff, it's not accomplishments, it's not doing, it's living your life from your heart, from your connection, from your relationship with other beings, right? When we come into this world and we leave this world without stuff, without academic achievements, without titles, without money, without, right? All those things help us while we're here and maybe make our lives a little bit easier. But really, that inner peace and calmness and fulfillment comes, like you said, from simplistic living and connection to each other and in relation to each other as people. And we can't connect with our children if we're constantly communicating to them that they have to be better or do better, because then the message they're receiving is that they're not good enough. And when you live your life not feeling good enough, nothing is ever going to be enough.
Excellent.
That has to come from inside.
Barbie, excellent. We are very close to end. Just next 1 minute, we'll finish. And aligning with you, I should say, in a conference in Japan, they asked me in the panel, what is happiness? According to me, I just respond, happiness, that you say really the same thing, that happiness, it's a very abstract term. Mm-hmm. It might be love, it might be affection, it might be choice to someone, but it all should be uncomparable, unconditional, mm-hmm. right? And of course, there must not have any mistrust, and freedom of talk, freedom of eating, or freedom of stay, freedom of sleeping, that you love to do uncomparably, that you mentioned. I'm very happy to have all the words. And dear viewers, those who are watching this and later on will watch this video, my motive is just sharing is caring. I have nothing to give you, but I do believe from this talk, from Barbie, from me, my talks, if you be benefited for a single moment, If you might be happy for a single moment, we will be happy. That is our motive, nothing else. So this is Last Minute Talk, Barbie. Community talks. This is a community platforms. You will be laughing to hear from me that my all things very related to community. I love to share the term community because I do believe in community there are three terms. One is we feeling that today morning I taught my daughter that I myself, it's the worst term in the world, bad, worst term, worthless term in the world. Just try to speak like this, we all together, right? We, that is the broader term. It might give you happiness. So rural feeling and local sentiment, locality sentiment. Where you are, just love the closest one first, then others. You will be happy. So this is Last Minute Talk. How you actually share your thoughts and feelings or say goodbye to the audience within a minute. This is Last Minute Talk to say hello, goodbye to all through this community text platform.
Yeah, I agree totally with everything you said. Just loving yourself first and foremost. And then out of that love that you have for yourself and your wholeness of being good enough, then
Right.
you can share that wholeness and that love unconditionally with everyone around you.
Thank you. Thank you. Dear viewers, we are at the end of the session. Please subscribe this community talk just to be with us. There are so many sessions, but we will join again in another session. And lastly, I shouldn't say sorry in that case because being Bangladeshi, I am supposed to speak in English. But my motto and motive is this is a global platform. There are so many friends around the world watch this video and comment this, that this is a scholarly platform, interaction, international social work being practiced. And Barbie, last day I'm telling, in this 44 episodes, all the episodes, I invited so many guests around the world, and so many friends are waiting in next episode. So in the last 2 months, 1.5 months so far, I was sick. I had hearing problem because of excessive use of device, so I stopped. And again, last week I started this because many friends text me, Habib, come back. That's why I thought if I spend 15 minutes with my friends, followers, just the loved one, if they become happy after listening and hearing our thoughts, that is the achievement. That is the step of success in my life. So, Barbie, again, my friend, thank you, and hope to see you again in another session in future, right?
Yes, definitely. Thank you for this opportunity and your beautiful message of, yes, of being of service to others feeds my soul. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night.
Goodbye.